From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Medical Mondays.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Medical Monday. We have a timely topic for you tonight. We are talking about Nutrition 101 with a registered dietitian. I want to introduce you to her right now. Amanda Arnold, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Kathy.
This is a fantastic time to get started on this topic because the holidays are coming up. We're all going to overeat. That's just the way it goes with holidays. For as long as I have been alive, it's happened every year. I imagine it's that way with everybody else.
Absolutely.
But if we turn our mind to nutrition and doing right for our body,
sure.
At this point, when we still have a couple of weeks, we're a couple of weeks out, maybe we can do a little bit better this year.
A little pre-planning, a little game plan, if you will. Yep.
Let's talk big picture, though. And before we get started, I should say, this is a call-in show. We want your questions. So go ahead and give us a call. Our producer, Taylor's in the back. He's ready to take those phone calls and get them lined up. 615-737-PLUS is the number to call. Again, 615-737-PLUS. So go ahead and give us a call. In the meantime, I'll do a few asking you the questions. I do want to talk big game plan when it comes to nutrition.
Absolutely.
You are with a group called the Pain Management Group. I know there are several offices around the mid-state. So when people come in dealing with pain, why bring in a registered dietitian?
Absolutely. So when we're talking about pain management, we're talking about knee pain, hip pain, everything from back pain. And the reason that Pain Management Group brought me on was because they noticed with a lot of their patients who had chronic diseases such as obesity, diabetes, that the physicians and nurse practitioners at Pain Management Group could not, within the time frame they have, truly give patients nutrition, diet, counseling. And so they brought me in to talk with a lot of patients about weight management, diabetes control, blood sugars, a lot of the nutritional choices we make on a day-to-day basis, not just holiday seasons, really have a true impact, a long-term impact on how our bodies perform for us. And the saying goes, garbage in, garbage out. If we nourish our bodies and feed our bodies with whole foods, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, our bodies are going to respond to that, reducing inflammation, which therefore reduces pain, as well with things like back pain, knee pain. If you're 40 pounds overweight, every pound of body weight that you have extra puts about 4 pounds of pressure on a joint.
Really?
So if you imagine just a 10-pound over that's 40 pounds of pressure. Imagine picking up a 45-pound dumbbell at the gym and then all of a sudden putting that down, that relief you would feel on a back joint, a knee joint. So that's a lot of what I bring to the table is nutrition counseling and helping patients understand not only how their food choices affect their body, but how they also affect their life and their overall health as well.
You said an interesting word that some other of the doctors have talked about on this show when it comes to treating chronic illnesses or even illnesses like dementia and Alzheimer's, inflammation within the body. So we're not talking about you sprain your knee, you have a swollen knee.
Right.
Talk about what inflammation in the body really is. What causes it?
Sure. So inflammation is a lot of times caused by something that's not supposed to be there. Whether it be a sprained ankle, it's the body's way of protecting itself in an acute or short-term phase. So inflammation, when you roll your ankle, it's a good thing because the body's protecting the joints. It's protecting the ligaments from further damage. The problem comes when it becomes a chronic issue, weeks, months, years. And that inflammation, whether it's caused from a back injury, whether it's caused from eating at a fast food joint 2 times a day, every single day, that inflammation can actually cause further damage to the body, arthritis. It can even cause damage to the nerves, to how the body receives hormones and processes the foods that we give it. And so inflammation, when we're talking about chronic disease, is a major contributor to things like obesity. It's definitely not the cause, but it's one of those side effects that we get. And so food and the types of foods we eat, we can make choices for food that cause inflammation in our body, high fat, very high sugar, or we can make food choices and beverage choices too that are healing and can reduce that inflammation in our body.
I heard in a story the other day, I think that Nightly News ran, that said 1 soda a day, like 1 Coke a day, over a year is like 52 pounds of sugar that you're putting in your body.
Absolutely.
Something crazy like that.
Absolutely. And that's one of, I think, the biggest things I see. And I don't know if it's a Southern thing or just it's hot in the South, but out of every 10 patients, I would say 8 out of 10 patients are drinking at least a 12-ounce soda a day. And when you look at a can of Coke contains around 200 calories. And I've had patients come in and tell me, oh, I drink a 12-pack a day, no problem.
Wow.
And when you look at the calories from that, and when we talk about calories, you can have a calorie from something like, you know, a green salad with some grilled chicken on top. And you can also have calories from the beverages you consume. And so not only on top of excessive calories, which causes weight gain, you're getting all that extra sugar. And there's been some research studies that have shown that the amount of sugar we intake as Americans from sugar-sweetened beverages or, you know, processed sweets, it contributes to not only the obesity epidemic, but also diabetes, heart disease. And so when you talk about sodas, that's one of my main issues that I do try and educate patients about.
Sure.
Because I was amazed in my first 3 months working at Pain Management Group that patients didn't realize what their beverages were doing.
It sounds pretty easy to give up your soda. But
you would think it's not.
So
It's
how
not.
do you get people to at least, you know, cut back a bit and
Absolutely.
then maybe get to that breaking
Sure.
point?
So I do surprisingly get a lot of resistance from patients to give up sodas, because I will also hear too, you know, along the same lines of, well, I'm drinking a 12-pack a day. But the other thing I hear is, I hate water. I don't like the taste of water. And in my head I'm thinking, well, wait a second, water doesn't have a taste. But they're so used to and so accustomed to the high sugar content of water that, and of course some patients are on well water. The water actually doesn't taste good. Yeah.
Right.
And so a lot of times what I'll do is, instead of throwing the book at a patient and saying, stop drinking soda, I will use nutrition counseling. So I'll ask a patient questions. Hey, what do you think that soda is doing to your body? What do you think your body's doing with those extra calories? How do you feel after you drink a soda? And once they start to, and a lot of patients are honestly uncomfortable with that approach because they're not used to the healthcare provider asking them questions and making them think. And so, but once they kind of start to get into the rhythm of things, they really start to realize, oh, okay, this isn't that good for me. And a lot of times I'll hear, hey, if that's what I've got to do to lose weight, I'll stop right now. And a lot of times too, what I'll do is I'll offer other suggestions. So I would never promote diet soda. A lesser of two evils, and a means to kind of, I use the word wean them off of soda, and have them start drinking more, you know, calorie-free beverages like a sparkling water or something like that, something that has the fizz but also still has the taste as well. So I find that it's a give and take a bit of, hey, I'm willing to do this. All right, I'll meet you in the middle, and it's behavior change, and it takes time. It takes time.
You know, when I said you're a registered dietitian, I know people heard the diet part of that and went,
Of course.
One of those.
Yes.
Diet. That's what we're going to talk about for an hour. And we've really got to flip the script on that, because it doesn't mean you can't have.
Of course. Never.
Diet.
Never, never,
and I know
never.
that's not what you preach.
No, I actually tell my patients I hate the word diet, because diet entails to me, okay, we're going to do something very strict for a short period of time. And sure, you're going to see maybe weight loss, maybe reduced blood sugars, a little bit more of a healthier lifestyle, but you're doing something that's not realistic to keep for a long period of time. And so what happens when, you know, that 3 months is over is you go right back to the behaviors you had at the beginning, and all that weight comes back on. So a lot of what I do preach to patients is behavior change, right? We're taking behaviors that you've developed over years, and we're trying to reverse them, get rid of them, and then create new, healthier habits. And so one of the questions I ask patients is, hey, have you been on any diets? What have you tried in the past? And I hear everything from Weight Watchers to the grapefruit diet to I'm going on the water diet. And so just to know what they've been through, and kind of to take down that barrier of, you know, oh, you're the dietitian, right? You're going to tell me.
You're no fun.
Exactly. You're the food police. But to kind of just gain their trust in, hey, I'm not going to make you change anything you're not ready to change, because I can't do that. I can't go home with you and hold your hand and smack your hand when you go for the cookie. But I hope to equip the people that I see to go home and make those smart choices for themselves, because that's really, you know, a lot of patients will ask me, well, just tell me what to do. Well, sure, I could do that, but it's not going to set you up for long-term success.
Okay. When we come back, I want to talk about more food crutches that you see in your patients every day. And we'll get into the holiday eating and how to pre-plan that so we don't put on a bunch of weight before January 1st.
Of course.
So stay with us, and don't forget, we are taking your phone call. 615-737-PLUS is the number to call. If we get any, we will answer those just as soon as we come back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Kevin Kennedy, and if you've been seriously injured in a tractor-trailer accident, you need representation that you can have faith in. You need the Kennedy Law Firm. That's 931-645-9900. Call us today.
This week on Fishin' Affliction TV.
Get the map of Okeechobee? Okeechobee's a big body of water, isn't it?
Join Team Fishin' Affliction for part one of their very first trip together on legendary Lake Okeechobee as they're fishing the Big O.
So basically what you're getting at is you're lost.
I'm not lost.
Your Fishin' Affliction TV weekend begins Saturdays right here on News Channel 5 Plus, your home for
Fishin' Affliction time for those who've got it bad.
There's no single answer to securing your financial future. You need to look at it from every side. Get dependable advice you can count on every week with the Retirement Report on News Channel 5 Plus. Experts on finance, taxes, and the legal system are ready to answer your questions. Don't wait to make a plan for your money. The Retirement Report, Friday mornings at 8 and at these encore times on News Channel 5 Plus.
Seems like a new restaurant opens every day in Nashville.
And Talk of the Town is helping you to discover which ones to try.
On Tuesday's show, we'll see why there's so much buzz about a fun new place in the Gulch, the Mockingbird, and the chef is sharing the signature recipe.
Then if you have a legal problem, call in your questions and get some free advice from Judge Muriel Robinson.
Plus, after a 20-year break, R&B group After 7 is topping the charts again with a new generation of fans.
Meet the group Tuesday at 11 on Talk of the Town right after The Price is Right.
Being prepared is a part of who you are. But it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
It is so much fun.
Ellen loves to give big, and this year she could be giving to you. News Channel 5 is sending one winner and a friend to be in Ellen's studio audience for one of her 15 days of giveaways, where each audience member gets jaw-dropping prizes. To win her, watch for the cue to call weeknights during News Channel 5 at 6. The fifth caller becomes one of 10 qualifiers. The grand prize winner will be announced November 20th on News Channel 5 at 6. Your chance to win tomorrow on News Channel 5 at 6.
Hi, I'm Kevin Kennedy with the Kennedy Law Firm. You know, I'm asked all the time, how do you get those multi-million-dollar settlements? First, you need a good case. Then you need a team of legal professionals who will work till they get the job done. You need the Kennedy Law Firm.
Welcome back to Medical Monday. I'm Carrie Sharp. Glad you're with us tonight. We are talking with Amanda Arnold, a registered dietitian with the Pain Management Group, talking about what we should all be eating and maybe what we should be eating less of. Thank you for being here once again.
Of course.
We talked about the soda crutch that you see
Yes.
a lot of patients are kind of hobbling around with.
Yes.
What are some other food crutches that you see often?
Absolutely. So a lot of times too, I'm amazed at the number of patients I see come in my office who have a little bit of extra weight they're carrying around. And a lot of times the stigma is that you're walking down the street, you see someone who is a bit overweight, and you think, oh my gosh, why can't they just stop eating?
Right.
Why are they eating so much? But the reality is a lot of times what I hear is, I'm eating one meal a day. I have a poor appetite. And really, what happens there is you've got someone who's basically put their body into this hibernation mode. You know, eating one meal, the recommendation is 3 meals a day or 5 to 6, depending on your schedule. And that's really what I tell patients is, should I eat 3 meals or should I eat 5 to 6? I'm like, do whatever fits best in your schedule. But when they're telling me, you know, and a lot of it too could be financial. You know, I've got a big family, I'm on food stamps, I can't afford that much. But a lot of times what I try and get patients to understand is the more you can nourish your body, the more frequently you can feed it what it needs, it'll do what it's supposed to.
So can you jumpstart your metabolism again if you're down to that one meal and everything is kind of stopped and you're in that
Sure. So and this is too, that's a great question. That's like the $1 million question is, can you jumpstart your metabolism back to help you lose weight? That's the idea, but you also have to look at the whole patient. You have to look at their medical history, what their lifestyle is like. Are they getting exercise? Are they able to eat the fruits and vegetables that are recommended a day? So kind of where I start to lead patients with that, and a lot of times too, they come in with poor energy, they're tired, they've got that, you know, brain fog going on, and so a lot of times what I'll have them do is use something as simple as a meal replacement shake. You know, a lot of times those are seen as, oh, well, those are going to make me gain weight. Well, not if you use them correctly. If you use them to kind of as you said it, jumpstart the body. There's a lot more that goes into, metabolism and hormones and everything going on that a lot of times too, I'll have patients come back and see me who have taken that advice and maybe started eating breakfast. If they're going all day and just eating supper, I'll say, hey, try a glass of milk with your meds in the morning, or use one of those meal replacement shakes. And they'll come back to me in about a month and they're like, I tried what you said and I actually have more energy during the day.
Wow.
Or my
sense.
appetite's coming back. And those are some of the signs to me that the body's kind of waking up a bit.
Sure.
Because if you think about it, if there were a fast going on, we would not be feeding ourselves. And so the body would go from burning this many calories a day down to energy saver mode. And there's a lot of things that shut off in the body: the appetite, the weight burning, metabolism processes. And so as you start to renourish the body with the right foods and the right portions, the idea is hopefully turn back on your metabolism and get back into that normal routine.
Okay, let's talk more about meals and proper size and all that in just a second. But first, let's hop to Kelly on the line. Hi, Kelly. What's your question tonight?
Hi. Yes. Well, like many people, Thanksgiving is my absolute favorite holiday.
Yes.
So I just was curious, are there any any dishes that I should absolutely avoid, or are there certain dishes that I should absolutely eat?
Okay, great question. Thank you, Kelly.
Absolutely. So that's a great question, and I don't ever like to approach, should I eat this, should I never eat this? I don't ever like to take away complete dishes or complete food groups. So to answer your question, Kelly, I would say when you hit Thanksgiving, first off, start off with breakfast. Don't ever skip a meal on a big holiday, because if you're skipping breakfast or lunch, by the time you get to that Thanksgiving meal, you're going to be starving. And what do we do when we're starving is we just eat so quickly. And what can happen there is we can consume more calories than we realize, because our stomachs are meant to count the amount of food, and then as we digest, the bodies count the calories. So eat breakfast, maybe possibly get a run or a walk-in before that meal. And then when the meal time comes, start out, maybe if your family at Thanksgiving is a buffet line, start out and look for the vegetable dishes. Look for the proteins, your turkey, your ham, maybe even deviled eggs. Or if there's, some families do green beans. Things like the green bean casseroles, the sweet potato casseroles, stuff like that can be a bit more calorie heavy and fat heavy. So filling up on things that take up more space, like your vegetables, your proteins, and then leave a smaller amount of space on your plate for the things you really enjoy, so that you can still enjoy them.
Sure, you don't want to leave Thanksgiving and thought, well, that was a real drag.
Absolutely.
I didn't enjoy Thanksgiving
Absolutely.
meal.
Of course.
But you can do both. You can
Absolutely.
eat well
you can
without depriving yourself.
You can have your cake and eat it too.
Okay, what about dessert time?
Absolutely. So a lot of times, my grandma Carol, she has this saying that when you sit back in your chair and you just... That's the time, normally after dinner, where dessert's being prepared, and you let your food sink in. You don't jump straight from dinner right into dessert. Have a cup of coffee. Enjoy conversation with your family. And then when desserts come out, a lot of times, too, Thanksgiving is we have all these foods that we don't get any other time during the year. And so we want to make sure that we taste everything. And so what you can do is if you want to taste everything, have a very small piece. Have a bite. Don't go for the whole slice of pie for everything. Or if you're a pumpkin pie, apple pie person, enjoy it. So desserts are not off limits, but you also want to make sure that you're not going into dessert feeling full and then overdo it to where you get that, I call it Thanksgiving syndrome, where you're sitting back, unbuttoning the pants, and
the
just
food coma.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't function anymore.
Absolutely.
And I would think that the same advice would go if you're going to a buffet or going to a party where there's a big spread.
Absolutely.
You got to survey it all before you dive in, right?
Of course, yeah.
Make your game plan.
Yeah, exactly. Have a game plan ready. I mean, athletes don't go into a game just willy-nilly and let's go win the game.
Right.
They have a plan. They have plays. They've got a plan set up so that they can succeed at the end.
Let's face it, we know what the healthier dishes are.
Of course,
out there.
absolutely.
We know that going for the veggie tray is the smarter thing to do.
Of course.
Do you have any tips or tricks on switching things out in recipes to maybe cut back on the fat or the calories?
Absolutely. So using in any of your desserts, there's sugar substitutes, sugar sweeteners that are low calorie, and they're zero sugar. So that's a really easy way to cut back on calories. If you're using, you could use a lower fat milk in a recipe to remove some of the fat there. My sister-in-law and I were just talking about this. She just made a vegan spinach artichoke dip, and instead of using the cheese and cream cheese, she made it at home, and she boiled almonds and used almond milk, and it was amazing. So there's different things you can switch in and out, and really a lot of it is knowing how, if you're baking something, it's a little more tricky because you have to know how the protein in eggs or the liquid in milk work. But as far as cooking, a lot of times too, salting foods when you're cooking. And what salt does is it makes our bodies hold on to water, which can make us feel bloated and just exactly. So don't salt your foods when cooking. Wait until after you're done to kind of, have the table salt on there to add it afterwards.
Okay. Let's jump back to the lines. We have Yvonne waiting ever so patiently. Good evening, Yvonne.
Hi, how are you today, this evening?
Good. How are you doing? What's your question?
My question is, I currently take insulin that causes me to gain weight.
Okay.
And I am needing to find out a better way to tweak my meal planning pertaining to me being able to lose the weight and keep it off. Because the more I exercise or tweak my diet, my insulin is still causing me to put on pounds. And I don't know what else to do.
Oh, I hear that frustration in your voice, Yvonne. I can imagine that. The more you try, and then the insulin is still there. What does she do?
And that, without knowing full medical history, full medication list, everything going on, a lot of times, unfortunately, medications do have an unfortunate side effect of weight gain. With that question, I would say more in a general term to answer that. Making sure that you're filling yourself. I keep going back to the vegetables and the protein. Protein is something in our diets that I think we don't give enough attention to, especially for patients who are diabetic on insulin. The protein does not affect your blood sugars most of the time. Of course, there are some proteins like in yogurt and your beans and stuff like that that can have some carbohydrates. But making sure that your plate is colorful with the vegetables. And as far as your insulin causing the weight gain, I would have a discussion with your primary care, or if you're seeing, an endocrinologist or diabetes specialist, about switching to a different insulin if that's an option. But from a diet standpoint, really trying hard to focus on the vegetables and the proteins, still having a small portion of the carbs because your body needs them. But that's one of the biggest frustrations that I see a lot with my patients.
And the good proteins would be?
Yeah, absolutely. Good proteins, we're talking poultry, fish, your lean meats, anything with the word loin in it, so tenderloin, sirloin. When you get into the red meats, such as your ribs, your ribeye, a lot of the meats with the white marbling fat throughout it, it's still protein, but it's considered a very high fat protein, and a lot of times extra calories. Any of your fish, tuna, tilapia are really cheap versions of fish. And then a couple of ones that I find go unnoticed, your beans. Beans have 9 grams of protein per half cup. And so it's a very cheap source of protein. They're also high in fiber. You can do your eggs. 1 egg has about 6 grams of protein. So a couple hard-boiled eggs in the morning. Any of your milk products, yogurt, any of your low-fat milk products as well.
Okay, very good. Yvonne, good luck with that. I know you're frustrated, and I hope that helps a little bit. I do want to talk about vitamins, supplements, minerals, how to factor all of that in. Because let's face it, our food supply is not what it used to be decades and decades ago, just because land has been stripped. We have pesticides we're putting on everything and everything else. I mean, the argument is very long.
Absolutely.
So we're not getting everything that we need just from eating it. How do you know what else you should be taking?
Great question. So a lot of times what I'll recommend to patients is just starting with a general multivitamin. It doesn't have to be the super fancy expensive Centrum or Silver. Those are great. But for a lot
Are they great though? I mean, because some research has said you've got to really check which vitamins are legit.
Absolutely. And so a lot of times the stand I come from is we absorb most of our vitamins and minerals best from our foods. And so I've read research on that our food supply is not as nutritious as it once was. So, a cup of spinach 50 years ago does not look like a cup of spinach today. And so you're asking yourself, should I take an iron supplement? Do I need a calcium supplement? First thing I would recommend is going to your primary care doctor and getting some blood work done. Really dig in and see which vitamins, minerals are deficient. The big ones, the hit words are the vitamin D, vitamin C, calcium, iron. Especially in women, we see a lot of vitamin D and calcium, and for our bone health as well. And so a lot of times without seeing specific blood work, it's hard for me as a dietitian to really recommend And, you know, and a lot of times, too, I'll see primary care is recommending, hey, take 50,000 IUs of vitamin D. And that's something that I would want a primary care to monitor, because they're going to be drawing the blood work. They're going to be watching the levels to make sure it doesn't go into a toxicity, which can cause other problems as well. So for that purpose, for, you know, with pain management group, we're not drawing blood labs. We're not, I mean, we're looking at, you know, other things, but I don't get you know, blood work drawn for each patient. So it's, I get hearsay. Oh, my doctor says I'm low on vitamin D. Okay, well, here's a list of vitamin D foods, and here's what you should eat per day. Here's the recommendation, and kind of help patients understand that, you know, with vitamins and minerals, you do absorb them best from foods, but a supplement, when used properly, can be a good addition. Again, a supplement is not something that is supposed to supply 100% of your daily vitamins and minerals, but it's supposed to do just that. It's supposed to supplement, fill in the gap. Exactly. So if it's used, you know, I mean, personally, my husband and I are both on multivitamins. We try our best. I'm human. Try our best to eat a balanced diet of, you know, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. But of course, you know, sometimes we fall short, and having that extra boost, you know, it doesn't hurt.
You can fall back on.
Fall back on it, exactly.
Okay, we're going to take another quick break. More of your questions and calls when we come back on this Medical Monday. Stick around.
This is a Storm 5 HD weather update. Sign up for Weather Call at newschannel5.com.
A cold start to our work week with a little bit of a piercing quality to the cold air. It just felt like it wanted to sort of needle its way through your clothes and into your bones as we started this work week. The good news is, with cloud cover finally starting to break apart, some sunshine will work back into the area. We'll see a little less activity on the satellite here, and the sunshine will help to take some of that bite out. Here's a look at temperatures across the southeast and, of course, current conditions right here in Nashville. Overnight tonight, we dropped down to 37 for our overnight low, so it'll be another cold night, and, of course, that means a cold start to your Tuesday. Tuesday, temperatures will touch 60 degrees in Nashville. Not quite as mild outside the city. Upper 50s is what you want to plan on for most of the day. A weak cold front clips us on Wednesday with a chance for a few scattered showers. Stronger cold front arrives late Friday night into the overnight hours into Saturday morning. I'm Storm 5 meteorologist Bree Smith.
Medicare open enrollment ends December 7th, so it's time to talk to Cigna Health Spring, where our one priority is you. We want to help you choose a Medicare Advantage plan now that fits your needs. Cigna Health Spring Plus You means our plans are designed around you with an approach to health care led by your doctor. Call Cigna Health Spring now to learn about your options and get a free guide. There's no obligation. Cigna Health Spring puts you first with plans that offer no monthly premiums, no primary doctor copays, prescription drug coverage, even dental and vision services. With a Medicare Advantage plan from Cigna Health Spring, you'll enjoy one more advantage: a focus on preventive care designed to help you stay healthy. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Don't wait. Choose a partner that puts you first. Cigna Health Spring. Call 1-855-738-0416. That's 1-855-738-0416. Cigna Health Spring. Together, all the way.
Welcome back to Medical Monday. I'm here with registered dietitian Amanda Arnold. Thank you for being here once again with the Pain Management Group. We're talking Nutrition 101 today. What a timely topic with the big eating holidays coming up. We have Thanksgiving approaching so rapidly. Christmas follows shortly, and then New Year's, when a lot of folks are imbibing a little bit, which can pack on the calories too. We all know that.
Of course.
I want to jump back into where we kind of left off, and that with getting the right vitamins and minerals in our diet. And I know one thing that I am very guilty of is getting into a food rut where I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. I kind of have the same kind of snacks every day. We eat the same recipes on a weekly basis for dinner.
Absolutely.
And that can create problems.
It can. And a lot of times, too, when we're talking about getting all of our vitamins and minerals, it can seem overwhelming because you're thinking, well, what food has vitamin D and what food has zinc or potassium? And my biggest key that I give patients is you want to get a variety. So changing up your breakfast, let's say you wake up every morning and you do your overnight oats. You walk into the office and you've got your oats and you're great. Well, switching that up and doing a couple hard-boiled eggs with a granola bar, that could help to expand the variety. And foods are very good at having different compositions of those vitamins and minerals. And so that's why the American Dietetic Association, the American Heart Association, all of these big governing bodies recommend, and even in the 2015 Dietary Guidelines for Americans, napkins. It talks about getting a variety. Color your plate. The more color, and that's another good Thanksgiving tip too, is if you look down at your Thanksgiving plate and it's yellow or brown, go back and get some salad, go back and get some green beans, and just take another look at your plate.
Right. And also, if it's a potluck, maybe bring something that you know is healthy. So easy to stray away from when everybody's coming in the door with all this food and it looks so good.
Absolutely. So food safety is important year-round, especially during the holidays, because like you said, you've got people coming in and out, you've got surfaces that have been touched from everything from raw turkey to fresh vegetables. And so a couple tips that I like to give is, first and foremost, wash your hands. Use warm water, use soap, and take your time with it. A pair of clean hands are the chef's best tool to use in the kitchen. Another thing too, when we talk about food prep, is you want to make sure and have separate cutting boards. One for the raw materials and then another for ready to eat. So say you're making your vegetable tray for the appetizers. You don't want to prepare your fresh vegetables on the same cutting board as the raw turkey, because then you're going to have something called cross-contamination, which all of those nasty viruses, foodborne illnesses, you can make your family very sick. One other thing in talking about cooking temperatures, for a lot of times this is, turkey season. We're cooking turkeys in the oven for up to 8 hours, and you want to make sure that that internal temperature gets to at least 165. I know that a lot of people are concerned about dry bird or overcooking it, but if you don't cook that turkey properly, you're going to have a much bigger issue on your hands.
You don't want all of your holiday guests or just your family going, being sick. And, Mom, you didn't cook it right. That'd be terrible.
Oh, there we go. Yes. Yeah, that would be awful. So food safety is a very, very hot topic, especially around holidays too. Absolutely.
Okay. Let's jump to the phone lines. We have Kinley on the line, I do believe. Kinley, are you there?
Hi, yes.
Hi there. Go ahead with your question.
So I take a few supplements a day. Is it better to take all your vitamins in the morning or take them throughout the day?
Great question. So a lot of times too, and again, Kinley, not knowing which supplements you're taking or, what your other nutritional history looks like, I would recommend, I haven't seen much research on it's better to take them in the morning or at night. I'd recommend taking them with a meal. So if you're a morning person and you do breakfast every morning, take your multivitamins with that. A lot of vitamins and minerals are absorbed better with food. And a lot of times too, you'll see medications take with food. That label is on there because of how your body absorbs those substances.
Okay, great question. I've wondered that too as well. Thank you, Kinley, for calling in. We appreciate it. Let's also talk exercise and sleep and how that factors in to our nutrition and our overall health. Let's start with exercise.
Okay, so exercise, and a lot of time with nutrition, we are looking at the whole person. We focus a lot on what a person's eating, how many times they're eating it, making sure they're getting all of their nutrients they need throughout the day. Another thing that, all of us have heard from our primary care is get more exercise, walk more. The effects and benefits of exercise, not only on, we had a call earlier about insulin resistance, and exercise has been shown to increase how well sugars are absorbed into the blood because the body produces more of its natural insulin. And so that's another great thing too with the holidays is it's a great time to get out during halftime of the big game and have a touch football game or take a walk afterwards or while the turkey's cooking. It helps boost metabolism. It helps build lean muscle mass, and lean muscle mass burns more calories at rest.
It does. So. I've even seen that, you burn just as, I forget the whole statistics, I won't try to throw it out there, but on days you exercise, you are burning so much more calories, even hours after you exercise. So it's not just that one moment you're in the gym or walking around your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
It's an all-day effect.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people go to the gym in the mornings, because I'm personally not a morning person. I can't get up that early to go to the gym. I would love to. But when you get up in the morning and you have your run or walk or weightlifting session, it sets your body up. It's like a reset button, and it does kind of kickstart your metabolism a bit, so that throughout the rest of your day, your body's kind of running a little extra hard for you. So it's doing a lot more for you than there are benefits to exercise right before you go to bed or at nighttime. What you want to do if you're exercising at night is you don't want to exercise within an hour of going to sleep.
Because your endorphins are flowing.
Exactly. You're not going to get a great night of sleep at all. But actually exercise at night has been shown, if you give yourself that time to wind down, cool down, has been helped to show or help you sleep better at nighttime.
Sleep better.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people could use that help.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know anybody that says, I sleep great all the time.
Absolutely, right.
You know?
I need no help with my sleep.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
right.
hear that.
What should we be getting? I mean, realistically.
Yes, you're right. So a lot of the research and a lot of the recommendations are based around 7 to 8 hours for an adult. And for a lot of us who have kids at home, or we're, running around doing dinner or chores, getting to bed at 8 to wake up at, 5 the next morning for work is not realistic. And so, there's grace there when we can't get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep that we need. So a lot of times too, I'll tell my patients, hey, it's okay to take a nap, but you need to cap it at 30 minutes because that 30-minute time frame has been shown to, you don't get into that REM sleep. You don't start dreaming, you don't go into the deep sleep, but it's just enough time to kind of let your body truly rest and relax that you can wake up feeling refreshed.
So it truly is a power nap.
It truly is a power nap. And my mom actually, she took true power naps when she would lay on the floor on her back, and she would kick her feet up onto a chair and sleep like that. And I haven't read, a lot of research on it, but what she told me was that as you sleep, the blood, gravity does the work, and the blood rushes from your feet and gives your heart a rest so you wake up feeling refreshed.
Hey, if it worked for her, I'm willing to try it.
100%. 100%.
Mom always knows best.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Are there any foods, going back to the food topic as we approach the holidays, that you say, this is a no-go, don't do it?
Yes. Again, going back to, I don't ever like to... unless it is a health risk, so if someone's allergic to nuts, please don't eat nuts. But a lot of times too, holiday breakfasts and brunch, there's bacon, there's sausage, and I want to almost promote a sense of freedom when we talk about eating. So I don't ever want anyone leaving my office to feel guilty or shameful that they had bacon that morning. And so, it's this idea of mindful eating where you're eating it slowly, you're enjoying it, you're not, shoving it in your face or gobbling it down, but you're taking your time and you're enjoying, allowing, there's so many connections between our taste buds and our brain and our stomach, and that connection it's mind-blowing. But if we eat so fast, we miss the beauty of that connection. So if we slow down, even when we're eating those foods we know we shouldn't, we slow down, our brains can get rewired to be satisfied with a small cookie instead of eating the whole sleeve.
And you have time to go, oh, wait, I am full.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
not 5 minutes after you ate that last piece of whatever.
Exactly.
Drinking water before meals, does that really help?
It can. So the idea of drinking water before meals, and I actually tell my patients to do this, is that our stomachs count space. There's space sensors within the stomach that when our stomachs expand, those sensors are activated. And that's the signal that tells our brain, ooh, hey, please stop eating, I'm full, I've gotten enough. And that mechanism is there to actually help control calories. But what we've done as Americans is we've overridden those sensors, and we eat so quickly that we overindulge, and our bodies can't keep up with the rate we're eating. And so the idea of drinking water before a meal is that it fills up space. And so by the time you get through your meal, that water, which is 0 calorie and it's hydrating you, doesn't add to the caloric balance of a day, but it just helps you kind of slow down. And even too, I even say put your fork down and take a couple sips of water, because that makes you slow down as well, because you're physically having to put your fork down.
Sure. Okay, let's jump back to the lines. We have Sheila on the line. Good evening, Sheila. What's your question tonight?
Hi, yes, Amanda, you were talking about sugar a bit ago, and I heard that all sugars, no matter if it's fruit or dessert, have the same effect on the body. Is there really a difference?
Great question. I actually get that question a lot with my patients, especially patients who have diabetes, because they've been told, don't eat fruit. Don't eat fruit, it has sugar. Don't eat a banana. And so a lot of people will get afraid of eating fruit, where, to answer your question, Sheila, when the body hits sugar, it does process it the same, whether it's a cookie, a piece of fruit. So sugar is sugar. The benefit and the reason why I recommend eating a piece of fruit over a donut is because your apple is going to have fiber. It's going to have vitamins and minerals. It's going to have more what I call nutritional bang for your buck, in that it's going to help you feel full. Whereas if I ate a donut, I'm not going to feel full. I'm getting what are called empty calories, meaning my body's still getting the calories, but it's not getting the benefits of the fiber or the water or anything like that. So when we're talking about how the body processes sugar, you have to kind of consider what else is in the food, because if you eat an apple, say for a patient who has, diabetes, that they have to be aware of the types of sugar they eat, and the sugar that is in a donut is going to make their blood sugars go up a lot quicker, because it's going to hit their bloodstream instantaneously, whereas the sugar from an apple may not hit their bloodstream as hard or as quickly. And a lot of times, you know, when I go down that road of how sugars affect people's bodies, I tell them to go home and if they are diabetic, test it. Eat an apple, test your blood sugar before, and then wait 2 hours after. What did your blood sugar do? And then try eating a donut and see what happens. Absolutely.
Let your body tell you the story.
Exactly. Absolutely. So all sugar, it's hard to say it's created equal, because when you eat a piece of fruit, you're getting so much more nutritional benefit from it than just eating a donut.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have to take another quick break. When we come back, more of your Nutrition 101 questions. Stay with us.
That was another good question, too. I get that a lot.
Get relevant, timely health information you can use. Local experts and resources to improve the health of you and your family. Please join me, Amy Marsalis, for Community Health Matters right here on News Channel 5 Plus at 9:30 in the morning on the second Monday of every month. Because here in Middle Tennessee, our community health matters.
Watch Community Health Matters every second Monday at 9:30 a.m. on News Channel 5 Plus. Community Health Matters is sponsored by United Health Foundation.
Whether a house is new or whether a house is 20 years old, we can go in and we can find debris in the lines. Mr. B's is about doing duct cleaning the best that we can do it, and better than anybody else in the industry. That's what I personally stand behind and guarantee. We never make a claim that we're going to help your health. That's just something we don't do. But again, I personally believe that if I put you in a cleaner environment, it's got to have a positive impact on you. And we literally cut a hole into the main trunk line. That's the main artery, just like a tree trunk. And we attach a HEPA vacuum system to it.
All right.
When we do that and turn it on, it causes a negative airflow. As that machine's sucking everything backwards, we go to each line and we'll brush it, and then we air sweep it down to the trunk line. So we've taken everything back to that negative airflow. So again, whether it's upstairs or downstairs, you saw that everything is being brushed and air swept to the trunk line, not bringing it back into your breathing atmosphere. What makes my home need an air duct cleaning? You have to make that decision. It's your environment. And so if you have black lines at the edge of your carpets, or you have any sort of dust, excess dust in your home that you're dealing with, and that's a problem for you, then you definitely would want your air ducts cleaned. But most people understand, too, that if they'll just look down the return, take the filter out a little bit and look down the return, they'll see all the dust that they're breathing on an everyday basis. The way we do the cleaning, most residential homes will be good for 5 to 7 years. We do recommend that you have your system serviced by a licensed contractor and also use a good filter. We've been doing this for over 17 years now. We take pride in the fact that we have an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Also the fact that we don't believe that anybody's going to out-clean us. And as I've said before, people can outprice me, but they're not going to out-clean me. There's only one way, and that's the right way, and that's what we do at Mr. B's Air Duct Cleaning.
Only one host gets this close to stars.
And that's why so many celebrities want to get inside of underwear. That didn't sound right.
All new Ellen.
Wearing them now?
Colin Farrell.
Too slow, Mr. Cameraman.
Plus,
there's something really important that we need to talk about now. Healthcare reform. I'm kidding. Reality television.
The latest contestant eliminated from The Voice. All new Ellen.
Tomorrow at 3 on News Channel 5.
Welcome back to Medical Monday. I'm here with Amanda Arnold, a registered dietitian. We are talking nutrition, but we're trying not to be so ho-hum about it. I always look at it as the more you know, the better you can do.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
Yeah. And we all want our bodies to feel good and to function at the highest quality, I do believe. Let's go right to the lines. Joan is on the line. Good evening, Joan.
Yes, good evening. I was wondering, and I can't seem to find out from anyone, is stevia the same as sugar? Is there any advantage to using stevia over sugar? Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
Great question. So stevia is what's known as a sugar substitute. It's actually produced from the stevia plant, and they take their leaves, grind them up, and it's actually a very natural sugar substitute. So stevia is not the same as sugar. Stevia is calorie-free, carbohydrate-free, sugar-free. So stevia is actually a great substitute to use in place of sugar. You get a lot of the same sweet taste for none of the crazy calories or effects of sugar. So if you're using stevia in your baked goods for the holidays, just mind the recipe conversions, because a lot of the sugar sweeteners are 100 times sweeter than sugar. So teaspoon for teaspoon, your stevia, any of your other sugar substitutes are going to be a lot sweeter, so you're not going to need as much of the sugar substitute in a recipe. A lot of times on the back of the bags, they'll have the equivalents there for you.
And we were talking about sugar substitutes during the break. It's a question that I personally had was if you're not crazy about sugar and
Sure.
it's not really a problem for you, because sugar can be very addictive.
Absolutely.
I mean, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
But if you're not a big sugar person, it is okay to still opt for the sugar,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, it's a natural substance.
It is, 100%. And that's the thing, too, is you have to keep in mind everything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
So I was saying, you know, if I want to make cookies, I don't have cookies at my house a lot, but when I make them, you know what, I'm going to use real sugar because I like the taste of it. Now, if I had, you know, boxes of cookies in my pantry,
Right, they were your go-to snack.
Of course, that's another deal. I may want to consider a sugar-free cookie at that point. But you know, sugar gets this bad rap for being, you know, evil, and it.
Sure.
Of course, anything in excess can turn into a bad thing. Alcohol, water, you know, if you're on a blood thinner, vitamin K, anything in excess can be too bad. So that's why it's, you know, just everything in moderation, including your sugar foods.
And sometimes when it comes to that, you really do have to do your own gut check and be like, okay,
Absolutely.
I've been way out of control with my sugar lately, which
Yes.
is easy to do around the holidays.
100%.
Or, you know, I'm pretty good. I'm going to have this regular
Yes,
cookie.
absolutely.
You mentioned alcohol.
Yes.
And that can undo a lot of people, not just because of the drunkenness, but
Of course.
because of what it does
so quickly
in your body.
So quickly. And so that's actually a great point that you bring up. So alcohol, much like your sodas, do have what are called empty calories. Per gram of alcohol, there's 7 calories. So you imagine an alcoholic beverage, say, you know, a cocktail, having 10 grams of alcohol in it, plus the soda or juice you use to mix in
Sure.
it. I mean, you're looking anywhere upwards of 70 calories from just the alcohol. Now, that doesn't seem like much if you're just having a drink, but
Sure. You had 4
who
or
just has one drink
5?
around the holidays,
Yeah.
right? And so alcohol, too, you know, obviously we want to keep it in moderation and, of course, keep it legal. But with alcohol, too, there's no, when I mentioned the empty calorie, there's no nutritional benefit to alcohol. You're not getting fiber, vitamins, minerals. And we do, where we get our calories from, things like our alcohol, our carbohydrates, our fats, and our proteins. Your vitamins and minerals, your fiber, your other nutrients don't contribute to calories. But alcohol is definitely one of those things, especially if we're mixing drinks or, you know, enjoying a beer or a couple glasses of wine. It's easy, especially around friends and the holiday season, to get carried away. And
any tips or tricks to not get carried away when it comes to your
Sure.
going to the parties and that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Choose, a lot of times, a white wine will have a little bit less calories than a red wine. Look for a lighter beer. I know around the holidays, the porters, the stouts, the heavier
Yes.
beers can be more enjoyable, but they do tend to be a bit higher calorie. If you are doing mixed drinks, choose a seltzer water or sparkling water, or choose a drink that maybe isn't mixed with juice. And if they have a sugar-free juice at the bar, even better. Having the bartender mull the fruits in the jar instead of adding the orange juice. That way you at least get the pulp and you get
Sure.
some of the fiber from it as well.
And I've always heard the tip of, you know, you have your drink, you have a glass of water.
Absolutely.
You have your drink, you have your glass of water.
Absolutely. And my husband and I actually talk about this a lot because, you know, as you drink, you do get dehydrated. And it's, you know, alcohol clouds the judgment. And so if you're getting dehydrated quicker, you tend to wake up the next morning with a hangover.
Yes.
But if you're slowing down, using that water trick again, just like you do with your food, if you use it as something to drink in between, it helps you slow down. And a lot of times, too, when we measure, you know, we can talk about how quickly alcohol affects me, but you want to make sure it's a drink per hour, and that's a 4-ounce shot. It's a 4-ounce glass of wine, a 12-ounce beer, or, you know, an 8-ounce mixed cocktail.
Sure.
So keeping that in mind, that, you know, recommended that it's 1 drink per women, and about, depending on, you know, height and weight, stuff like that.
And I find that planning these things out and really thinking them beforehand can be the biggest
Absolutely.
difference. How do you counsel your patients on just planning meals from day to day or week to week? What are the tips and tricks to make that more doable?
A lot of times, too, it does come with a little bit of effort from yourself to plan, to think in ahead. A lot of times, too, we talk about the grocery store, right? You go into the grocery store, you're starving. First thing you go for is the donuts or the chips. One of the tips I give my patients is first thing, with the grocery store is where it starts, because that's where you're going to buy your groceries for the week. So a lot of times patients are in a budget. So I tell them, shop the coupon clipper, shop the sales. Don't make your list based on what your family wants, what you have a craving for. Make your list off of what's on sale at the store. That way you know, you're going to save money. 2, you're going in with a plan. Okay, I'm going to the poultry. I'm going to the canned goods. Another thing is, too, don't go hungry. Don't go to the store hungry.
That's terrible.
Like, that's just setting yourself up for failure. A lot of times, too, you'll hear a lot of dietitians talk about shopping the exterior.
Yes.
A lot of times that's going to be your produce section, your meat section. You're going to find a lot of your dairy on the outside and your frozen items. Where now I will add the canned goods section into that because that is a cheap source of vegetables. And nutritionally, fresh, frozen, or canned, you're still getting a good boost of nutrition and vitamins and minerals. And so the biggest thing I tell patients is to, have 1 or 2 meals planned and then go shopping for those. Don't go to the store hungry, and just have a plan for the week.
Yeah. Let's jump to Emma, see if we can squeeze in this phone call. Emma, thank you for being part of the show. What's your question?
Yes, I just wanted to have her opinion on using agave as a sweetener like in my coffee.
Okay. Thank you, Emma. Let's see if we can get that answered.
Great question. So when we talk about using natural substitutes like agave, natural honey, it's not sugar. It's not the white granulated sugar. It's still, even though it's natural or organic, it still contributes calories. So it's 100% okay to use in your coffee. Just be mindful of how much you're using. A lot of times with honey, agave, the liquid sweeteners, I direct patients to the food label. The food label is your best friend when it comes to knowing how much and what's in the food you're eating. So a lot of times with honey, agave, it's about a tablespoon for a serving. So as long as you're not sitting there, with the bottle over it, I think it's just like what you said earlier, if I'm going to have a cookie, I'm going to use real sugar. So if that is something that you enjoy using in your coffee, again, everything in moderation.
Measurements can really be eye-opening. Like, I am crazy about peanut butter. Sometimes I'll just go get a spoonful of peanut butter because I'm like, oh, I'm a little hungry. That's my snack.
Absolutely.
But that spoonful kept getting bigger and bigger, and then I was like, this is 1 tablespoon is this much, this much protein, this much fat. Yeah, a tablespoon. I'm like, well, I've been doing a lot more than a tablespoon.
Absolutely. It is eye-opening when you look. One of the biggest surprises I have with patients is when we talk, I love peanut butter. Love peanut butter. But peanut butter, a lot of times, too, if you look underneath the nutrition label at the ingredients, that's going to be another eye-opener, too, because a lot of times in peanut butter, you'll see the order in which it lists ingredients is the amount. So peanut butter, you would expect peanuts to be first. Next, you might expect oil, but in a lot of peanut butters, it's sugar. And so they're adding that sweetness in there. And so that's something, too, I tell a lot of my patients, just to help them be better consumers of the products that they're buying. But with the tablespoon of peanut butter, I hold my thumb out like this, and I say, that's a tablespoon. That's what you get. And they're like, oh, I'm doing way more than that.
Way more.
Exactly.
Yeah, I am so guilty of that, but I got no awakening.
I know.
We're going to take another quick break. More after we come back. Stay with us.
This is a Storm 5 HD weather update. Sign up for Weather Call at newschannel5.com.
A cold start to our work week with a little bit of a piercing quality to the cold air. It just felt like it wanted to sort of needle its way through your clothes and into your bones as we started this work week. The good news is with cloud cover finally starting to break apart, some sunshine will work back into the area. We'll see a little less activity on the satellite here, and the sunshine will help to take some of that bite out. Here's a look at temperatures across the southeast and, of course, current conditions right here in Nashville. Overnight tonight, we dropped down to 37 for our overnight low, so it'll be another cold night, and, of course, that means a cold start to your Tuesday. Tuesday, temperatures will touch 60 degrees in Nashville. Not quite as mild outside the city. Upper 50s is what you want to plan on for most of the day. A weak cold front clips us on Wednesday with a chance for a few scattered showers. Stronger cold front arrives late Friday night into the overnight hours into Saturday morning. I'm Storm 5 meteorologist Bree Smith.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood.
find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Thank you for being with us tonight for Medical Monday. Learned a lot, as always, talking about nutrition tonight. And before we go, I just want to recap in case people are tuning in a little bit late. Holidays are coming. It is a great excuse and a great chance to overindulge.
Absolutely.
Get our minds in the right position. How do we go into Thanksgiving?
Yes, so go into Thanksgiving with a plan. Know that when you hit the buffet, choosing items that are colorful. If you look at your plate and it's brown, time to go back for some vegetables. A lot of times, too, first thing when you wake up, have breakfast. Make sure you've got plenty of protein, some fiber to keep you full throughout the day. Have an exercise plan. Grab a buddy. While the turkey is cooking, go for a walk or take time during the halftime of the big game to go outside and play your own football game. And then as far as dessert goes, when we're talking about those dishes that we just can't live without on the holidays, remember there's freedom, but everything in moderation. So making sure you're drinking plenty of water and eating all of those yummy fruits and vegetables.
And sometimes the downfall can be if you're having the Thanksgiving at your house, then you have all the leftovers. So it's not just a one-day eating event. It can stretch for a couple of days.
Absolutely.
That sweet potato casserole sticks around.
And you get tired of it.
No, not me. So you do really have to think about just really what you're consuming.
Absolutely.
Because garbage in, garbage out,
absolutely.
as you said.
And it's slowing down so that you don't overdo it. Because remember, our bodies are wired to tell us when we're full, when we've had enough, but we as Americans have over the years tended to override those sensors, and so it's just taking time. Enjoy your family. This is a big time of the year where family gets together and it's conversation and catch up. So focus more on that as opposed to the food.
We have less than a minute left, but you were telling me if folks want to seek out a dietitian, how can they do it? There's a website they should check out.
Yes. So the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the website is www.eatright.org. There is a resource on that website where you can go and locate a dietitian in your area. I know for my position now, it does have to be physician referral. So talk to your primary care, get a referral in to see us, and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Amanda, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, as always.
Absolutely.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
I've said that into anybody. Have a great night, everybody.